Hello everyone, you are welcome to the Cambridge Lower Secondary Checkpoint Mathematics 0862 Paper 1 written in October 2025. There are 23 questions in this paper and calculator is not allowed. So you have to use your knowledge of mental mathematics, okay, to solve many of the problems in this paper. If you are seeing this channel for the first time, please kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button. Also, click on the notification bell to receive notification anytime I upload a new video. Like, comment, and share this video. Let's get started. Question 1. Work out 35.8 multiply 10 to the power of 3. Okay, so what you need to do, you need to, since the exponent is, the power is positive 3, okay, so we need to shift the decimal point towards the positive side, that is this direction, 3 times. So you have 35.8. Now this is the decimal point, so we shift it to the right hand side 3 times. So 1, 2, and 3. So the decimal point is now here. So fill up the spaces with zeros, right? The final answer is 3, 5, 8, 0, 0. 1, 2, 3, a comma here. So that is 35,800. Question 2. Draw a ring around the two calculations that will give a positive answer. Okay, so this will give negative, this will give a positive, okay, this will also give a positive answer. Question 3. The diagram shows two intersecting lines. Angelic says angle A and angle B are corresponding angles. Angelic is not correct. Complete the sentence with the correct description of the angles. Angle A and angle B are vertically opposite angles. Okay, vertically opposite angles. Okay, so these vertically opposite angles are seen in letter X. So if you look at this is a letter X, okay? So you can only see them. Another one you can have is this and this. They are also vertically opposite angles. So vertically opposite angles are seen in letter X. Okay, so let's go to the next question. That's question 4. Ahmed wants to find out the amount of money students of different ages spend on lunch and which food is the most popular. Give one example of quantitative data he should collect. So these questions deals with amounts of time spent, okay, here, and we also have the most popular food, okay, then the age as well, okay, so we have the age as well, right? So one thing you could say here, so you can collect the data in regarding any of these 3. Okay, so to be the amount of food or the amount of money spent rather. Okay, so the amount of money spent, you can write amount of money okay, so you can also look for the number of lunch orders, right? So you can also get the number of lunch orders because that will tell you the most popular. Okay, so if you get the orders right, the number of orders, it will tell you that okay, this particular food is actually popular. So we can get let me just write here, or we can write this, or the number of lunch orders. Okay, so that will give you that will tell you that this particular food is popular. Okay, so here you cannot get the most popular. No. Okay, don't say the most popular food. That will not be correct. Okay, so you need to collect a quantitative data that will tell you the most popular food, not that the most popular food. Okay, if you want to know the most popular food, it has to do with the data. Okay, which is the number of lunch orders. Okay, it will tell you that, okay, maybe this particular food has 20 orders, 50 orders, then you know the one that is most popular from there, not directly from the word. Okay, and the student age as well can also tell. Okay, so there are many options. It depends on what you can see there. Let's go to the next question. Question 5. Write the correct numbers in the boxes to complete the calculation. Okay, so you have 0.84 divide 0.12 equals something, divide 12. You see that this 0.12 becomes 12. That is 0.12 becomes 12. That means the decimal point was shifted 2 times. So that implies 0.84 will become 2. You have to shift it the same way, 84. Okay, so it has to be 84. Then 84 divided 12 is 7, because 7 multiplied 12, okay, is 84. This is a fact, multiplication fact. Okay, so 84 divided 12 equals 7. Let's go to the next question. Question 6. Use compasses and a ruler to construct a triangle with all 3 interior angles of 60 degrees. The base has been drawn for you. Do not rub out your construction arcs. Okay, so here what you need to do, you need to get a pair of compasses. So let's put it here. Okay, so we can take the length. We don't necessarily need to construct the angle 60 degrees. That will be for IGCSE. So here what we need to do is to put the center of the compasses here. Then let's take the length of this line. Okay, I think we are good here. Okay, so then we need to draw an arc like this. Then we take the same length, okay, center at the other end, and you intersect it. Okay, so this is what you do. Okay, so eventually the 3 sides will be equal. Okay, and the 3 angles will be equal, because it is a fact, if the sides are equal, okay, then the 3 angles will also be equal. So this is what you need to do here. Put this one here. So I think I need to adjust this one a little bit. Okay, good. So this is what you need to do. So automatically this will be 60 degrees, this will be 60 degrees, and this will be 60 degrees, because the 3 sides are equal. Okay, so that is what we need to do. It's pretty easy. Okay, so let's go to the next question. Question 7. The cost of hiring a car is a charge of $50 per day. So this is per day, plus a fixed cost of $80. A car is hired for N days. So that means the pay will be 50 multiply N. Okay, that will be for the number of days, plus the constant fee irrespective of the number of days, that is 80. Okay, so draw a ring around the correct one. It will be 50N plus 80. So this is the correct one, 50N plus 80. So let's go to the next question. Question 8. Draw the graph of 4x plus 5y equals 80 equals 40. You may use the table to help you. Okay. So what you need to do is just to get 2 points, okay, on the grid and join them together. Okay. So I will show you 2 ways of doing it. If you want to use the table, when x equals 0, okay, you need to find the value of y. So if when x equals 0, so you have 4 into 0 plus 5y equals 40. So this is 0. Then you have 5y equals 40. So divide both sides by 5, okay? So y equals 8. So you put 8 here, okay? And when y equals 0, what is the value of x? So from the same equation, 4x plus then y is now 0, then equals 40. Okay, so this is 0. Then you have 4x equals 40. Divide both sides by 4. Then x equals 10. So you have 10 here. So you can easily come here, use the table to plot the graph. Okay, the first point will be when x equals 0, y equals 8. Okay, and that will be this for this point. That's the point. Okay, and the second one, when x equals 10, y equals 0. It will be here. Then you can connect the 2 points together like this. Okay. So I think we need to adjust that a little bit. Let's pick this. So you have a kind of something like this, okay? Okay. So another way you can use to construct the line, if you don't want to use this table, so is to write, you know, the general form of the straight line is y equals mx plus c. M is the slope and c is the intercept on y-axis, right? So we'll try to write 4x plus 5y equals 40 in this way. We'll write it like this, okay? Then let's rearrange. So we have 5y equals 40 minus 4x. So we can still rearrange this better. Okay, or let's divide through by 5 by 5 by 5 by 5. So 5, we cancel 5 here. We are left with y equals 40 divided 5. It is 8 because 5 times 8 equals 40. Then we have minus 4 over 5x, right? So let's rearrange this one to look like this. Okay, I can say y equals, let's write it up here, minus 4 over 5 x plus 8. So if you compare this and this, okay, you compare these two, okay, you see that the intercept on the y-axis is 8, okay? So the straight line touches the y-axis at this point here on the grid, okay? Then minus 4 over 5 is the slope. So minus 4 over 5, okay, let's scroll down. Okay, minus 4 over 5 is the slope. It means you fall, okay, 4 times and you move forward 5 times. So that is the meaning of negative 4 over 5. So from here, if you fall 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you run 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And see, this will be a point on the line, so this is correct. So let's fall 4 times again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you move 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is, then you connect the 3 points together, okay, and you still have the same straight line. So this is more advanced. So you make use of this mostly in IGCSE, okay, but it's still good when you use it in grade 9 as well. It's pretty easy as well, okay. So let's go to the next question. That will be question 9. Okay, in question 9, okay, let me be sure. Okay, this is question 8. Question 9. The diagram shows an isosceles triangle with its vertices on two parallel lines. Find the value of A. Okay, so from what you can see from the diagram, okay, these two angles are equal because base angles of an isosceles triangle are the base angles of an isosceles triangle are equal. Okay, and from this angle 110 and this angle, they are angles on a straight line, so they add up to 180. So we can easily get this angle by doing 180 minus 110. Okay, so that gives you 70 degrees. So this means this place is 70 degrees. Okay, so this is 70 degrees. Automatically, this will be 70 degrees, right? Good. So let me clean this so that it will not be confusing. Okay, so we also have 70 degrees here. So you can get this angle here. So because some of angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So these two angles add up to 140. So this is gonna be 40 degrees. Fine. Now, if you look at angle A and these 40 degrees, okay, they are alternate angles. Why? They are found in letter Z, okay, or Z. Okay, let's trace it. This is the letter Z. Okay, so this angle and this angle are alternate angles because they are found in letter Z. Okay, so I can easily write A equals 40 degrees. So question 10. Draw a ring around the correct calculation to increase 88 by 13%. Okay, so if you want to increase 88 by 13%, that means, okay, at 100%, you have 88. So if you want to increase it by 13%, that means the percentage has to go to 113%. That is the meaning. Okay, so it should be 113 over 100 multiply 88. That will give you the value. So if you look at the option, we don't have 113 divide 100 here. Okay, but let's convert this to this one. Let's convert it to decimal because you can see decimals here. Okay, so this will be 1, 2. It will be 1.13 multiplied by 88. So 1.13 multiplied by 88. So this is the correct option, right? So let's go to question 11. A prism has a cross section that is a regular polygon. The prism has 4 planes of symmetry. Write down the mathematical name for the shape that is the cross section of the prism. Okay, so what you can do here is just, okay, let me just give you a rough sketch. So it's like you have something like, okay, let me just give you a rough sketch here. You have something like this. Okay, then you have something like this. Okay, so you connect them together like this. Okay, sorry, I think I can still make it better. So let's use thick lines like this, like this. Okay, so this will explain it better to you. Now, so the cross section, okay, will be this end and this end. Okay, we have these two ends to be the cross section. Now it is a regular shape. The cross section is a regular shape. It means the sides are equal. Okay, so if the sides are equal, okay, so that means the plane of symmetry, and the plane of symmetry is 4. Okay, so if you put a plane here, if you place it vertically like this, okay, so it will go all through from this end to the other end. So you have one plane of symmetry. So if you take it from this side, okay, like this, okay, if you take it to the other end like that, okay, you get another one making 2. Then if you take it from this side, okay, and it goes through there, you have another one, it makes it 3, okay. And the last one is when you place it at the middle here, vertically here, okay, so it's going to give you the same thing, so making it 4. So that means the shape has to be an equilateral triangle, okay. So that is the answer. So I already know the answer, so okay, for that reason I have to draw the main prism for you, so as to save time. So this is an equilateral triangle, so just write equilateral triangle. Okay, so let's go to the next question. Question 12. Simplify x to the power of 4 times x to the power of 5. Okay, so this one we have to apply multiplication law of indices. So you select one of the bases, then you add the powers. 4 plus 5, okay, that is 9. So x to the power of 9. We have x to the power of 9. Part B, write an integer in each box to complete the statement. Okay, so there is a coefficient here is missing, then there is a power here is missing. So but we have 6 here. So if you divide the number here by 3, you get 6. So the reverse will be 6 times 3, 18. So that is 18. Then for the index, you have y to the power of 15. Then here we have y to the power of 15. Let me write here, divided by y to the power of, let's say, x, then equals y to the power of 8. So the division law, so you have to subtract the powers. So 15 minus what will give you 8? That would be 7, right? So this is gonna be 7. So pretty easy to do. Then question 13. Use one of the symbols greater than or less than or equal to complete, or equal sign to complete each of these statements. Okay, micro means 10 to the power of negative 6. It means 1 millionth. 1 millionth. And what is nano? Nano is 10 to the power of negative 9. It means 1 billionth. It means 1 billionth. Okay, so now let's take these two now. So if you replace this micro, okay, micro with 10 to the power of 6, 10 to the power of negative 6, that is micro, and this one is 10 to the power of positive 6. So if you multiply them, okay, so you have 1. Okay, so this and this, they combine these two together, it will be 10 to the power of 6. You know, from the knowledge of your indices, okay, so law of indices, you select one of the bases and you add the powers. So it will be 6 minus 6, that will be 0. 10 to the power of 0 is 1. Okay, so it will give you 1 meter. So this is equal to 1 meter. Now let's come to this one. So the nano here, let's take the nano. The nano is 10 to the power of negative 9. 10 to the power of negative 9. And you have 10 to the power of 2, which is 100 here. So if you do this, 10 to the power of 2, okay, times 10 to the power of negative 9. So if you use multiplication law of indices, okay, you add the powers. It will be 10 to the power of 2 add negative 9. That will be negative 7. Micro should be 10 to the power, is less than something, negative 6. Okay, so 10 to the power of negative 6 is the micro. But we have 10 to the power of negative 7. So that means this is not correct, right? So it is less than. Okay, so this one is less than, because negative 7 is less than negative 6. Okay, so that is why we put less than here. Okay, so the third one, 1 million kilometers, okay, and 1 light year. So 1 light year is the distance light travels, okay, in 1 year, okay. So, and that is a very large number, okay. So it is about 9.46 times 10 to the power of 12, okay. So this is what you have, okay. And what you have here is 10 to the power of 6, 10 to the power of 6. Even with this alone, 10 to the power of 12, so you know that this is less than this, okay. So let's go to question 14. Question 14. Eva walks the length of her garden. She takes 20 seconds walking at a speed of 4 kilometers per hour. Find the number of seconds she takes to walk the length of her garden at speed of 5 kilometers per hour. Okay, so if you observe very well, you see that this is an inverse proportion. So as the speed increases, the time is expected to decrease. Okay, so that is how I know that this is an inverse proportion. Okay, so I'm going to show you two ways to do this. Okay, one is pretty straightforward and the other one is a little bit lengthy. So let's use the straightforward one. Okay, so from here what you can do is to say, okay, you have 20 seconds, okay, over, so that's the seconds. I want to take the proportion, then the seconds in for the 5 kilometers per hour, I don't know, I'm gonna put x here, then equals, you know, I started with this, okay, that is from 4 kilometers from this information, okay, 20 over the time for the 5 kilometers per hour, which is x, okay. So if it was to be a direct proportion, okay, so what we will have done is to say 4 over 5. We maintain the same order. I started from here, then here. So, but since it is inverse proportion, so I'm gonna take this now, 5 over 4. Okay, I changed the order, so that is why it is inverse proportion. Okay, so if you do 4 over 5, that means you have a direct proportion, which is not correct. Okay, so you cross multiply, you have 5x equals 4 times 20, then divide both sides by 5. So 5 cancel 5, 5 here 1, 5 in 20, 4. 4 times 4, 16. So you have 16 seconds. So this is super easy and straightforward. Okay, so if you want to use the other method, so you need to take the proportion. So we know that the speed, right? So we know the speed is directly, is inversely proportional to the time taken. So let's have the constant, the speed equals k over t, which implies that k equals the speed multiplied the time. Okay, so for the first one, so the value of k equals speed, which is 4 multiplied by the time, 20, and this is 80. So that is 1. So I can say k equals 80. So let's start this. For the second one, we can scroll down a little bit. For the second one, we can say k equals, the speed is 5 multiplied by the time. So which we don't know, we say x. So this gives 5x. Okay, so let's denote this one by star star. So k equals this and k equals this. So you can say k equals k. Then that will be 80 equals 5x. You divide both sides by 5. And you still have 16. Okay, so if you really understand the inverse, proportion, this is pretty easy. Otherwise, this will be the better one for you. So let's go to the next question. That will be question 15, right? So find the value of 5 into x plus 2 to the power of 2 minus 7 when x is negative 3. So let's key in the value of x. Okay, negative 3 plus 2 to the power of 2 minus 7. So using your board mass, we start with the parentheses. So let's simplify this. 5 into negative 1 squared minus 7. So let's finalize the parentheses. It will be 5 multiply positive 1. Okay, negative 1 squared means positive 1 minus 7. Then let's do this multiplication. 5 then minus 7. So the final answer is negative 2. Question 16. The table shows some information about the height of children in class A and class B. Okay, so take this sign to show if each of these statements is true or false, or you cannot tell. Okay, so the first statement, children in class A are generally taller because the range for class A is larger. So what does the range tells you? Okay, if the range is higher or bigger, okay, it means there is gap between their height. That means they are taller than one another. They are not that tall. Okay, so some people are tall and some people are short. So that is why the range is larger, okay, than the other. So if you look at the range for class A, it is 0.15 and the range here is 0.12. So the range is larger here. So it means that there is a gap, okay, a larger gap between the tallest and the shortest. Okay, so that means they are not that tall. Because if the range is small, that means they are almost tall in the same way. Okay, so this one gonna be false. Okay, children in class B are generally taller because the mean for class B is larger. Yes. Okay, you can see that the mean in class B is larger. It means collectively, the mean means the collective performance of the students in class A and class B respectively. So since the mean is larger here, it means generally the students are taller. That is why the mean, their general performance or their general height is still higher than that of A. So this is true. And the tallest child is in class B. So for this one now, if you look at the range, okay, so the range is the tallest minus the shortest. But it depends, since we don't know the shortest, okay, so it will be very difficult for us to know the tallest, okay, in each of the classes. So this one, who just cannot tell. Okay, so this will be the solution to that question. Let's move to the next question. Question 17. Solve 40 over x equals 20. Okay, so you just cross multiply. This is pretty easy. You have 20x equals 40. So divide both sides by 20. Okay, x equals 2. Okay, then the second part, you also have to cross multiply, but here you need to be very careful. So the 2 is multiplying the whole of y minus 3. So it's better to put it in a parenthesis to make it a quantity, right? Equals 8 times 1, because this one is like over 1. So let's expand the bracket. You have 2y minus 6 equals 8. So if you solve this, plus 6 here, plus 6 here, this eliminates this. So you have 2y equals 8 add 6, that's 14. Divide both sides by 2. So y equals 7. So y equals 7. So question 18. For this question, x can be an integer or a decimal. Take this sign to show if each of these statements is true or false. So x is less than negative 2 is equivalent to minus 2 is less than x. Okay, this is false. 5 greater than x is equivalent to 12x less than 60. So let's see. 12x less than 60. Let's divide both sides by 12. Okay, 12 cancel 12. You have x is less than 60 divided by 12 is 5. Okay, so it means x is less than 5, which simply means 5 is greater than x. So this is true. So x greater than 3 is equivalent to x greater than 2. False. 4x greater than or equal to 12 is equivalent to this. So because of the equality sign here, so they can never be the same. Okay, but furthermore, you can still solve this. This will give you 4x greater than or equal to 12. Let's divide both sides by 4. If you do so, you have x is greater than or equal to 3. So you can see there is no equality sign here. So they are not the same. So this is pretty easy. So you don't have to waste your time if you can really check the equality sign there. Okay. So question 19. The table shows information about the time taken for some athletes to complete a race. Okay. You have the time, I have the frequency. A, draw a frequency polygon to show this information. Okay. So what we need to do, we need to find the average. So the average of 20 and 21 is 20.5. This one 21.5, 22.5, 23.5, 24.5. Okay, so that's what we use against the frequency. Okay, so the first one is 20.5 and the frequency is 5. 20.5 against 5, so it's gonna be the middle here. Then you have 21.5 against 12. So 21.5 against 12 is gonna be here. Then we have 22.5 against 17. 22.5 against 17 is gonna be 22.5 here against 17 is gonna be here. Then you have 23.5 against 22. So 23.5 against 22 is gonna be here. Then we have 24.5 against 2. 24.5 against 2. So it's gonna be here. So we need to connect this together from here. Go like this and connect these together. Okay, so this is the polygon you can draw for that. Part B, the slowest time taken to complete the race was 24.1 seconds, right? Draw a ring around each of the possible values for the range of the times taken in seconds. Okay, so the range is the highest minus the lowest, or the largest minus the smallest. So we need to take the smallest from this interval, that is between, let's come here, between 20 less than t and t less than or equal to, I need to confirm that again, that is 21. Okay, 21. Okay, mind you, 20 is not part of the data here because 20 is less than t. So since it could be an integer or a whole number, okay, so what we can do here, okay, is to take the smallest here to be, let's say 20.1 for instance, okay, and we have up to 21. Okay, so what is the highest here? So the highest is 24.1 as given here. So if you do 24.1 minus I think 20.1, that will give us 4. Okay, so this will work. And also if you take the smallest to be 21, so you still do 24.1 minus 21. Okay, so this will give us 3.1. So we select this. Okay, so the smallest is within this range. So let's go to the next question. That will be question 20. A sequence has a first term of 22. The term to term rule is to subtract 2.5, 2.5. A, show that the 10th term in this sequence is negative. Okay, sorry. So we need to get the terms first. So this is, the first one will be 22. Okay, and the term to term rule is to subtract 2.5. So if you subtract 2.5, the next one will be 19.5. Subtract 2.5, you get 17, and so on and so forth here, right? So we need to get the nth term, okay, which is pretty easy. So the term to term rule is already 2.5. So we say the nth term equals minus 2.5n, because the term to term rule is subtract 2.5, that is minus 2.5n. Now let's check, is this enough to be the nth term? When n is 1, so you have minus 2.5 times 1, which is minus 2.5, and we're supposed to get 22. So that means we need to add something to this, okay, so that the first term will be correct. Okay, so what do we need to add to it to get 22? That means we have to do 22 plus 2.5, that will be 24.5. So this should be correct now. So this is the nth term, okay, for the sequence. Okay, now we want to get the nth term. We want to show that the nth term is negative. So that means n equals 10. N equals 10. Let's put it here. So it will be the 10th term equals minus 2.5 into 10 plus 24.5. So this will be minus 2.5 times 10 minus 25 plus 24.5, which is minus 0.5. So the 10th term is negative. We have shown it. Okay, part B. Draw a ring around each value that is a term in this sequence. Okay, so you can still make use of the nth term. Okay, so the nth term, don't forget, equals minus 2.5n, okay, plus 24.5. So if each of these, okay, is a term in this sequence, okay, the position should be a whole number. So let me show you which one. If you want to check if minus 8 is a term in this sequence, okay, so we'll try to get the position, which is n. Okay, so we say minus 8 equals negative 2.5, okay, multiplied by n, that is the position we want to get, plus 24.5. So if you solve this, okay, you take this to the left hand side, so you have minus 8 minus 24.5, okay, equals minus 2.5n. Finally, okay, before then you can add these two together. So this will give you minus 32.5, right? If you add these together, yeah, so minus 32.5 equals negative 2.5, and finally divide both sides by negative 2.5. Okay, I just want to show you. Okay, so this we cancel this, minus we cancel minus. So if you divide 32.5 by 2.5, so n equals 8. Okay, since the n is a whole number, not a decimal, so that means it is a term. That means negative 8, okay, is a term in this sequence, and the position is the 8. No, sorry, this should be 32 divided by 2.5. That is 13. Sorry. So that is 13. Okay, so it means it is the 13th term. Okay, so but if the value of n is a decimal or a fraction, then that means it is not, that particular term is not, does not belong to the sequence. Okay, so you can just do the same thing for each of these. Okay, but for me, I'm just gonna give you the answer. We have negative 8, we have negative 23, and we have negative 88. So if you substitute this into the nth term, just like what I did for negative 8 here, so this will give you a whole number, this will give you a whole number. Okay, so others will give you a decimal number. That means they are not a term in the sequence. Okay, so let's go to question 21. Here is a number fact. Okay, you have 1, 2, 3, 102,292, 102,292 divide 428 equals 239. So use this number fact to complete these calculations. Okay, so let's start with the first one. Okay, so from the number fact, let's write, this is the number fact, right? So we need to write this one like this first. Okay, so that means we should have, according to the number fact given, so 428, okay, multiplied by 239, okay, should give us 102,292. Okay, so according to the number fact, okay, when you multiply this by this, you should get this. Okay, but now what do we have here? We have 4.28. Okay, so 4.28, what do you have here? 1, 2. That is minus 2. Okay, so you do it by 10 to the power of negative 2. Okay, let me just put it here. 10 to the power of negative 2, just to make it clearer. So, and we have 23 here. So that means they just do only 1 here. So that is 10 to the power of negative 1. Okay, so, and we have multiplication there. So for this now, when ordinarily I shouldn't use this to do it for you. Okay, I should just use the shifting, but I want you to understand, that is why I'm using this now. So what will happen here? Okay, you need to combine this from your knowledge of multiplication of indices, right? So this will be 10 to the power of, you add the exponent, the powers, minus 2 plus minus 1, that will be minus 3. It means you have to, the answer of this one now, okay, needs to be 10 times smaller than this because of the negative 3 we have here. Okay, so it needs to be 1,000 rather, because you have 3 zeros. That's the power of 3. So it has to be 1,000, okay, times, okay, less than this. So from here, I'll just come to this place, 1, 2, and 3. So my final answer will be 102, okay, 0.292. So that is what you need to do. Okay, so it's very easy. I can just do it straight away without showing you all this, but I really want you to understand what is going on here. Okay, then for this one, okay, also from the number fact, we need to write this. We need to write this. Okay, so we need to write this to be in form of this. Okay, from here. Okay, so what do we have? Normally we should have 1 0 from here. Let's remove this. So from the number fact given, so you should have 102,292 divide 239. That is, this one divided by this one should give us 428. So equals 428. Now let's compare this with this now. Okay, so here you have 1, 2. So that they did 1, 2. That is 10 to the power of negative 2. And here you have 0.02. So to have the same number here, it means you have 1. Okay, let's count from here to see 1, 2, 3, 4. So it should be 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will be divided by 10 to the power of negative 2. Okay, negative 4 rather. Okay, that will be to the power of negative 4. So what do we need to do here? From the knowledge of multiplication law, division law of indices. Okay, so you have to subtract the powers. So that will be 10 to the power of minus 2 minus negative 4. Okay, this and this combined together become positive, and the final answer will be 10 to the power of 2. So the implication is that the answer of this one will be 100 times bigger. So that is the implication. Okay, so our final answer, okay, for this particular one is gonna be 428. Okay, 428. Then this, since this is gonna be 10 times bigger, 100 times bigger, we add 0, 0. Okay, So because when you combine 10 to the power of 2 and 10 to the power of negative 10 to the power of negative 2 and 10 to the power of negative 4, you get 10 to the power of 2. So that means this has to be 2 times bigger. Okay, so the answer is 42,800. Okay, just like what I said earlier, I can easily do this without showing all this, but many students do get confused. So that is the major reason I have to show you this. Okay, now let's go to the next question. That's question 20. Okay, I think I skipped a question. Question 22. Okay, so work out this. So let's write this as improper fraction. 25 times 2, 50, plus 7, you have 57 over 25. Okay, then multiplied by 9.5 plus half. Half is 0.5, so this will give us 10, okay, to the power of 3. So, which is the same as 57 divided by 25 multiplied by, this will give you 1000. Okay, so if you simplify this, you see that 25 goes here once, because this one is like over 1. 25 in 100 4 times, and 25 in 0 0. So you have 57 multiply 40. So if you want to do 57 multiply 40, so you can equally do 57 multiply 4, then multiply 10. So you can decompose 40 into 4 times 10, and if you want, you can do it, you can decompose it to 2 times 2 times 10. So it depends on you. I think this one is pretty easier. Okay, so you do 57 multiplied by 4. 4 times 7, 28. You write 8, you keep 2. 4 times 5, 20, plus 2, 22. So 228 multiply 10. 228 multiply 10 give us 2280. 2280. And let's go to the last question, question 23. Point A has the coordinates negative 9, negative 4, and point C has the coordinates 21, 11. So point B lies on the line AC, okay, in this given ratio. AB ratio BC equals 2 to 3. Cool. So find the coordinate of point B. So to solve this question, I can show you 2 different ways, okay. So the first way requires no formula, while the second way requires a formula, which is a section formula. So let me partition this into 2, okay. So this is checkpoint, okay. You can use any of the 2 methods, okay. It depends on you. Now let's do the rough sketch of the question. So you have the straight line here, which is A, C, okay, A and C, okay, and the coordinates of A are negative 9, negative 4, and coordinates of C are 21 and 11, okay. So, and B is on AC in this given ratio, so that means B should be somewhere around here, and the coordinate will be x, y, we don't know, okay. So, and it is 2 to 3. So what is the total ratio? Okay, the total ratio is 2 plus 3 equals 5. Now, so we need to get so it means that B is 2/5 of the whole thing. It is 2/5, okay, of the way from A to C. So should I write it out? Okay, I can say B is 2/5 of the way from A to C, okay. So now we need to know the movement from A to C. So let's get it, right? To get the coordinates of the movement from A to C, so that is movement, okay, I'll show you movement from A to C, that is the total, okay. So we're gonna subtract this one here, 21 minus negative 9, okay, that will give us the x coordinate. So it will be 21, okay, 21 minus negative 9, okay, comma, then we'll do 11 minus negative 4. So that will be the coordinate. It will be the movement from A to C, and this will give us 30, 15. So this is the movement from A to C. Now we need to get this the movement from A to B, that is from here to here. We need to get the movement, okay? So we already know that the movement from here to here, okay, is 30, 15. So to get the movement from A to B, okay, so we use 2/5 of it, right? Okay, so it will be 2/5. Okay, let's write something here. So movement from A to B will be 2/5 of 30, 15. And this implies 5 here 1, 5 here 6, 12, 6. So that is the movement. So it means, let me illustrate it here. From A, okay, to B, so the movement is 12, 6. Now I already know the coordinates of A, which is negative 9, negative 4. So the coordinate of B is x, y, as stated there. So we can get the coordinate of B now, easy. So how do we get the coordinate of B? For the x, so we say that x minus negative 9, just like what we did up there, okay, x minus negative 9 will give us the coordinates, which is what? Which is equal to 12, right now. So this and this will become plus, okay, so it will be x will be equal to 12 minus 9, okay, and that will be 3, right? So it is pretty straightforward. So we get x to be equal to 3. So x equals 3. Okay, so the same thing. So we do y minus negative 4 equals 6. Okay, so we do the same thing here. This and this becomes plus. So y equals 6 minus 4. So y equals 2. So x equals 3 and y equals 2. So we put 3, 2. So that is one way of doing it without using any formula. Okay, so if you want to use formula method, okay, so we use a method known as the section formula. So the section formula is pretty easy. So the same thing as this. Okay, I'm gonna draw this again. Okay, this is point A here. Okay, I think sorry, let's move this. Okay, so let me use a straight line. Okay, sorry, so let's take that again. Okay, so we have the straight line. Good. So point A is here and point B is here, and finally point C is here, just like what we did earlier. So this will be point C, and the coordinate is 21, 11. So this is point B. The coordinates are x and y, and point A, the coordinates are negative 9 and negative 4. Okay, so and the ratio is 2 to 3. So the section formula to get x, okay, is n x multiplied by x1 plus m multiplied by x2, okay, so over m plus n. So in this case, and for this one, for y, y equals ny1 plus my2, okay, over m plus n. Okay, so this one gonna be x1 y1. Okay, we have them here, and this is gonna be x2, y2, and we have x and y here for b. So m equals 2 and n equals 3. So this is what you need to do. So just key in the values, boom, and you get your answer straight away. So this is pretty easy. So now if you substitute the values there, so you are going to get your answer without wasting any time. Okay, so let's do the first one. For x equals, we have 3 into x1, that's negative 9, okay, plus 2 into x2 is 21, okay, then over m plus n, that is 3 plus 2, 5, okay, so let's complete that. Okay, this is gonna be 3 times, okay, this equal to 3 times negative 9, negative 27, okay, plus 2 times 21, that is 42, okay, then divide 5. So you can easily complete it. I think we can scroll down. Okay, I think I can manage this one here. So x equals minus 27 plus 42, that will be 15 over 5, that will be 3. Okay, so let's scroll down for the part B. Okay, for y coordinates. So y coordinates will be equal to 3 into negative 4. That's y1 plus 2 into 11. That is y2 over 2 plus 3, 5. So this gives negative 12 plus 22 divided by 5, and this equal 10 over 5, which is equal to 2. So we have the same thing here. So it depends on you. You can use any of the two methods. So this is the end of my solution to the Cambridge Lower Secondary Checkpoint 0862. So paper 1. So until I upload the paper 2, stay cool and watch out.